Welcome to No Free Lunch, Africa's freshest business and tech podcast. With me, your host, Greg Stewart. And today we're talking about IT service management or ITSM services and how they're helping to shape service levels in Africa. Bit of background on my guest today. Leith Collyer is the Managing Director of Pink Elephant South Africa, a role she took on in March 2023. With over a decade of sales and account management in the IT sector, she's a vocal advocate for transforming ITSM to drive business value, particularly in emerging markets like Africa. Under her leadership, Pink Elephant has focused on next-gen service desks, AI-enhanced proactive support systems that go beyond traditional ticketing. Welcome to No Free Lunch, Leith.
Thanks, Greg. Great to be here.
So, Leith, let's just talk about a bit about you. You've had a long history in IT. You've done IT sales. You joined Pink Elephant a couple of years ago. It's part of a global organization. Has this been a good journey for you? And how's that looked over the last couple of years?
Yeah, for me, previous to joining Pink Elephant, I was with an organization called Dimension Data, which is now NTT Group. There I was a service delivery manager for multiple customers, and there we practiced ITSM, so IT service management. When I joined Pink, I joined in a sales capacity, and what led me into the sales role was everything I did as a service delivery manager, I knew worked. So when it came to selling the products, whether it was our training courses or our consulting or technology or managed services, I knew and practiced that it worked, and I was passionate about it. So it's now 12 years that I've been with Pink Elephant, from a sales role through to a sales management role, and now lucky enough to be managing the company, given the keys to the castle. So it's been a fantastic journey so far.
And that's quite a big step up. Have you enjoyed the challenges? And I believe that Pink Elephant has got some significant clients under its belt as well. How's that look for you as a female leader in quite a male-dominated environment, being the IT sector?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a completely new role for me. Been doing this now for 2.5 years, and it's a steep learning curve. But I've got some great executives that support me and guide me. Certainly our founder, Neil Petford for Pink Elephant South Africa, has definitely been my mentor through most of my career here at Pink Elephant. So, great to have somebody like that can help and guide, and being a male and putting a female into those shoes, I think is quite commendable in our world today. For me, being a female leader for an IT company is certainly something that I can see out in the market is changing. There are far more female leaders that I work with in different capacities and different organizations, which is great to see. I think we bring a little bit of empathy to our roles, and certainly, we're out there trying to make differences and changes within the market that are inclusive for females, but still, protecting our counterpart males.
And are you seeing more young females entering into the industry? I know that's been an issue in the past, in that young women are simply not or haven't previously been entering into the market. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing a shift in there?
Definitely. So we run a lot of managed service desks, which traditionally could be called IT help desks. And in there, we have quite a significant number of females doing IT technical work at either a catch and dispatch, which, entry level up to first line or second line support. So it's great seeing people or females in more IT roles. Certainly at our back office level, we've got a technical support team, and in there we have business analysts, project managers. So yes, we are infiltrating.
Well, that's good to hear, and it's not a bad thing. I think it's about balance. I think that in all of these things, you can't force people to go and be, employed in certain jobs, but it is good to have a balance. Let's talk a bit about the ITSM industry, and you've got some good advice to give on that. let's talk about in an African context. You've highlighted how IT service management is driving more than just productivity in African business. It's fueling broader economic growth. What challenges like infrastructure gaps or skill shortages do you see holding ITSM adoption back on the African continent?
Yeah, I mean, look, in terms of infrastructure, we know within the African continent that is a challenge around power, instabilities, connectivity, and those types of things can lead to incident levels rising, your mean time to response can spike. So that in turn means that there is more time spent fixing. So, that is a concern across the African continent. Skills shortage, when you talk about that, that's certainly something that we know exists within the continent and certainly within service management. So service management being a methodology or framework based out of ITIL. And we certainly drive our courses and portfolio up into the African market to fill that shortage gap and create better managed desks, better managed responses, and better ticket resolution. All of those practices and approaches will better enable service desks and better enable fixed times and service to your customers and your end users.
Yeah, and I think that part of that requirement is the fact that there's a cost involved here, isn't there? If you're having longer downtimes and so on, that has a big impact on businesses everywhere.
No, absolutely. Downtime means cost to the business and less customer satisfaction. And those are two things in an IT realm that you do not want. You do not want your business, certainly your IT business, to be running at high costs, and you want your customers to have a good experience.
And so there's a direct correlation between what happens on service desks and actually generating profits in companies. It's often something that's it's not necessarily a clear-cut bottom line contribution on your financial statements. It's something that is perhaps unseen, but it definitely has an impact. And I'm sure you've seen that in some of your clients and some of the undertakings that you have. You want to talk a bit about those and some of the examples of where you've seen great improvements? I mean, I think one of them you mentioned that you had like up to a 40% operational cost reduction. That's quite significant. So maybe just talk us about some of those and how you've seen that affect bottom line for businesses.
Yeah, so I mean, from our perspective, there are many things you can do to improve your service, and certainly in service management that you can do to improve the service. And that's from whether you're augmenting AI, whether you are looking at enterprise-wide ITSM technology, and whether you are simply just improving the practices and processes that you have within your business. Those types of improvements can lead to a better return on investment and obviously increase your bottom line. What it ultimately means is if your IT business is aligned to your business outcomes, you'll have less incidents or less recurring incidents, which means less problems, and therefore better stability within your IT. If you had to look at business outcomes, it would mean more sales by implementing automation, which means faster service delivery and better outcomes and experiences for your users.
Yeah, you advocate for next-gen service desks that you've said deliver 35% faster resolution times, 30% less wait times. Talk us through some practical recommendations or case studies where implementing those changes transform the client's operations, and how can smaller businesses, apps or businesses across the African continent, get some quick wins through implementing these type services?
Yeah, I mean, from a Pink Elephant perspective, we help a lot of our customers with certain concerns or issues or pain points that they have in their business, and we identify those through assessments or investigations in their business. But certainly some of the quick wins that businesses could look at to begin with would be, in my recommendations, would be stabilizing your change environment, creating major incident processes, publishing run books for your agents that could quickly move through requests from your end users, self-service portals, identifying your top 20 requests, virtual agents. That's really part of the next gen of what we talk about in our business. Knowledge databases that are up to date that can plug into your virtual agents or your chatbots. Automating very simple tasks within your business will certainly bring those quick wins. And that's down to password resets, account locks, certainly things that you don't want your agents to be bogged down constantly doing. You want them to be upskilled, as we were saying earlier, upskilled to take on the bigger issues to run through your business and give better insight into how to fix the larger problems, if I can put it that way. And then I would certainly recommend analyzing your data. So analyzing your data could be down to the simple things like your top 10 repeat offenders, or, remove one root cause per week, so coming up with some practical approaches that could create those efficiencies at a simplistic quick win approach.
Tell me, your desks are now, you have an AI component to that. Mm-hmm. Has that made a big difference in the whole process? Is that making it better? Is it speeding things up? Is there a real advantage in using them? I actually, funny enough, last week I had a discussion with a chap by the name of Nick Hudson, and Nick is an avid AI critic, mm-hmm. and he says there's only sort of real fringe benefits of AI here or there, and but in reality, it's just a new system that's maybe helping on the one side, but it's creating more work on the other side. Talk to us a bit about that, and whether you've seen real value in those AI-driven systems.
Yeah, look, I'm also involved in many disparating AI conversations out there. And I think generally speaking, most of us should embrace AI, because that is the way that our future is heading. From a service management perspective, and certainly from a service management tooling perspective, a lot of the tools that we are implementing now, and certainly one of our principal technologies that we're leading with is Halo ITSM, and that has a lot of AI embedded into the technology. And I think that's what's changed within legacy tools to these proactive tools that have low-code automated workflows. Those workflows will streamline the business in the sense, again, as I was saying previously, it's a lot of automated low-end tasks that can be run through your service desk without the agents having to even touch those tickets that are coming in. Those types of automations will allow the agents to then, with their skills and knowledge, apply to bigger problem fixing. In that context, taking chatbots or AI agents or interfacing with your customers in different ways through self-service portals, that takes the pressure off the desk. That means that you can apply different practices or even better processes in there that will lead to better efficiencies and optimization of your desk. Doing that is better for the business. So I'm supporting AI, if I can say that. Enterprise-wide technology means that you're not just taking your IT service desk into consideration. You're including facilities management. You're including your IT operations. You're including HR, sales, CRM, project management, which means that you can get better data insight. Data insight gives us data-driven decision-making. So as owners or leaders or managers, that really helps you make those decisions that can then optimize your revenue at the end of the day. Knowing what's going on in your business, that's what you're looking for. That's what I certainly would be looking for.
And tell me, has Pink Elephant or your clients actually measured the impact from a client perspective, from their clients seeing better interactions, easier resolutions, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, we do have some clients that we're working with. In fact, one of them, we're busy doing a PR engagement with them. So hopefully we can release some of that information shortly. But certainly a client that is very proactive in AI and very much interfaces with customers out there in the market. So they're quite relevant to us. They are, from embracing AI and the technology that they have within their business and something that we've worked with them, they have, I think, I don't have the figures themselves specifically, but yes, they've reduced their mean time to respond. They've reduced the ticket volumes on their desk. And those are just at its simplistic level a win.
And it really is about identifying those gaps, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So many organizations will have sort of reactive services that create silos between, let's say, IT and business goals. From your experience with your clients, what are the most common gaps that have created that these systems have actually filled and improved services? Where are those gaps that people should be looking for?
I mean, I think some of those gaps are probably quite relevant to what we were talking about in the beginning. So certainly the gaps around skills and having to fulfill those. Legacy tooling. Those are gaps that would need to be addressed and certainly taken into consideration. Data, I think, is probably quite relevant. We've been working with a lot of our clients around predictive data analytics and tooling and AI to bridge some of those gaps. I mean, we have consultants that work with our customers, and in some cases they'll sit there with more than 50,000 records and having to, as a subject matter expert, having to apply your knowledge and expertise to that. However, using AI and predictive analytics, that can very quickly change the outcomes and certainly move your objectives forward. What I would want to say is that what could take up to 20 days is now taking maybe 2 or 3 days worth of time and effort through AI and analytics. So those are certainly gaps I would want to encourage our customers to look at and change.
And then looking forward, one of the issues around these systems and AI-driven systems and so on is that the argument against them is the fact that they're not bringing costs down. So the ultimate measurement of these type of automated systems and that sort of thing should ultimately be a reduction in costs. So we should see a reduction in prices of services or goods. And that's not happening at the moment. The African digital economy is starting to, get some momentum and moving forward. And a lot of companies are looking for automation, for optimization. Yeah. Where do you see that going? Give us a future outlook in terms of how ITSM systems are going to change.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, we talk about being next generation leaders in service management, which really means looking at people, process, and technology. The technology element isn't just about digitization. It's about digital transformation, and it has to be across your people, across your processes, and across your technology. So it's not as simple as just replacing technology or replacing people with technology. You still have to upskill people to do better in the work that they apply. And then you have to look at your processes, not by just simply putting in a piece of technology or a piece of AI. If your processes are properly working for your organization, that's where you should see the optimization or the streamlining of your business. Those don't always translate into better cost or reduction in cost, right? Those should certainly see a better or an improvement in your processes and your efficiencies. And sometimes that means that it's simply a win for your end users or your customers, which could improve your sales and your service delivery. I would love to say that everything results in a reduction in cost, and that as a business manager, I would love to always be reducing my operating costs. But sometimes it has to be a leveling out of simply more sales, better service delivery, and happier customers.
So in the end of the day, we're talking about making sure that businesses are being more efficient, delivering better customer services, and a better experience at the end of the day, not necessarily a reduction in price. So that's in a nutshell where you believe that's going to?
Yes, I think there are certainly technologies and software in the market is certainly far more affordable than it used to be, and certainly is more organizational wide. But yeah, we have to be practical in what we apply back into our business. We work with a lot of customers around that digital transformation because, as I say, it's looking organization wide and not just at simply implementing the technology. However, I believe that can make a difference to the business.
And I suppose ultimately, from a business perspective, if you have more competition in the marketplace and disruptors coming into the marketplace who are optimizing their services, who are creating automated services right from the onset, that's certainly going to throw the cat amongst pigeons. I mean, you've seen it in the banking sector, you've seen banks without branches and all of their services going digital and so on, ultimately bringing down costs for the consumers. So I suppose it's also about creating additional competition and more efficiencies within those disruptives that, I believe, will bring down costs anyway.
You're so right, Greg. We're quite, I don't want to use the word picky, but we like to find the right vendors that work with our organization, and that's about matching that vendor relationship. We've taken, as I mentioned earlier, taken on a product called Halo ITSM, which are fantastic vendors in the market. They've got a very strong strategy to take over some legacy, very expensive products, enterprise products, and they've got a great approach to the market. So we're having great success with that piece of technology. And that would probably be a great example of cost reduction in what Halo can do versus other similar products at a much better costing model. And they've been very aggressive in terms of winning business, winning customers, and really the good old saying of coming to the party to make it work.
Well, it sounds like it's certainly going to be an interesting ride for you and for Pink Elephant, riding the Pink Elephant through the African jungle, shall I say. And best of luck to you and the business. And we look forward to hearing about some of those new developments going forward. Leith Collyer, thank you so much for your time. And it's been fabulous having a chat to you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.